Not my favorite song. You work with that nigga Stevie J. Girl, did he touch you? Did he touch you, girl?
Hello, black hole. See this brother winning, man. A-R-E. Hey, look, what is your win, big? What is your win, big? What is your win, big?
If you have not already done so, please remember to like, share to Facebook, subscribe, and visit uptopbeauty.com. And if you are not already a part of our book club, please hit the Patreon link below and or the join button here on the YouTube. And for a small monthly fee of $5, you babies, yes you, can be privy to all the shenanigans before the YouTube gets it, if the YouTube gets it. Now, let's continue talking about Mariah. I finally walked away from Sing Sing with little more than my wardrobe and personal photos. Natural disasters eventually tore down all the walls that held so much of my misery. A few years after I left Sing Sing, it burned down to the ground, and Hills Jail was completely destroyed by a tornado. I was in my Manhattan penthouse when I received a call from a woman who was the former owner of my former house. The rendezvous with Derek was just the push I needed to cross over into the promised land. I had proof that I could have something beautiful on the other side of the hell that was my marriage. Tommy's dark reign over me was now crumbling. Derek was outside of Tommy's world. Tommy couldn't destroy him, and I felt the possibility of my own destruction coming to an end. The Roof, as a song and a video, painted a deeply passionate and very accurate picture of my experiences. It was major for me, not for any salacious reason, but because any intimacy with another human being was not something I had experienced before, ever. It was an amazing feeling, and I was obsessed with replaying the encounter and fantasizing what it could lead to. Mariah, girl, is you still think about that Derek Jeter dingling? One of y'all had told me that Derek Jeter was a Cancer in the Aries that's not going to make it, okay? A Cancer is far too emotional and sensitive to deal with the unempathetic Aries, okay? They don't have time to deal with them emotions. You know, Derek Jeter come home from a baseball game, you know, whatever position he play, he ain't do it good, okay? Now he coming home crying. Mariah looking at him, so what why you crying for? You still gonna get your paycheck. I don't understand. Now, you know, she just remade that song, The Roof, with Brandy. Girl, is you still think about that baseball dingling? It was an amazing feeling, and I was obsessed with replaying the encounter and fantasizing what could it lead to. I romanticized so much about that night. I believed it was part of my destiny. I thought I had met my soulmate. I was driven. My whole being ached to see Derek, or more accurately, to experience how I felt when I was near him. What she is talking about is that feeling that you get, you know, when you replay something beautiful in your mind. Y'all, I'm telling you, I used to get this feeling in my gut when I used to have wonderful experiences on dates. She calls it butterflies, but it was so much stronger than that. You know, it'd be like, you know, because it was so strong in my stomach. That's how much that experience, or that romantic experience, penetrated me. Let me tell you one of my most romantic experiences, okay, in my youth, right? So it was with a Leo, right? And he did have a dirty dick, because, child, he was hunting my cousin too. He was hunting me and my cousin at the same time. You know, that's so Leo of him to do. But anyway, him and I wasn't hunting at the time, right? We just was enjoying each other's company, and things just worked so well, right? So this Leo would always pick me up from school. Like, he picked me up from school one time and he was like, you want to ride home? I was like, sure. Then when he dropped me off, he was like, can I pick you up from school tomorrow? I was like, sure. He had one of them 300 anniversary Z's. He was getting it, so Nate was ready to get it with him. He would always pick me up from school and then bring me home, right? Who knew that right after he was dropping me off, he was going to go, hunch on my cousin. One day he had picked me up and he was like, it's time for you to see where I live at, right? So the first beautiful romantic experience that I can remember was him having the teas out of his anniversary Z, because they used to call him a T-top, right? And you would take out one side and you would take out the other, right? And what was playing on the radio was Keith Sweat, Make It Last Forever. And when I tell you, me and him sang that song together beautifully. You hear me? He was Keith Sweat. I was the girl Jackie. I think her name is Jackie McGee. And with the night air and the 300Z and the stars in the sky, I mean, it was beautiful. And I embraced that experience. And at that point, I had fallen in love with him. I didn't know he was hunching my cousin. Even to this day, I will never forget those little small experiences that he gave me. And I also won't forget that he lied to me about hunching my cousin, but he a Leo. That's what they do. They lie. That one experience connects me to him forever. Okay? That would be our song. Let me tell you how much I love you. Let me tell you, boy, I really need you, baby. I was crazy about that boy. He a maniac now. Anytime I made a move forward for myself, there would always be backlash. The show that was my marriage might have been over, but the after show, the meet and greet, the dismantling of the stage took a lot of delicate planning. There was quite a bit of upheaval. My life was thoroughly intertwined with Tommy's. I needed time and counsel on a clean as possible exit strategy. I moved into a hotel on the Upper East Side and continued therapy. Good for you. I was still absorbed in the memory of the roof and wasn't willing to fall back into the mud of despair. A new part of me was alive, and I was intent on feeding it. I heard from one of the Armani people that Derek was going to be in Puerto Rico. At our next therapy session, I announced to Tommy that I needed to go on a trip. I made the case that it was time for him to honor the scope of our new agreement. He was supposed to let me go and we could see other people. I'd been out alone socially. I'd been in recording sessions without him picking me up. I'd been taking acting classes and spending the night at my teacher's house. Right. Remember, the girl is still married. The divorce is not in place yet. You still don't want to act like a harlot out there in public because, you still got mozzarella sticks as a last name. I'd been out alone socially. I'd been in recording sessions without him picking me up. I'd been taking acting classes and spending the night at my teacher's house. Right. And now it was time to go somewhere just for me. Okay, maybe I felt a teeny bit bad about the last part, but you gotta do what you gotta do to survive. Like what? Fall on a baseball dick? I don't condone sleeping with, other people while you're still married. Legally separated, I mean, do what you want to do. He can fall into any hole, you can slide on any pole, right? But, it's like you have to have a sense of decorum while you're still carrying somebody's last name, even though she's not. I made it sound super reasonable. Perhaps me and my assistant or maybe another girlfriend would go away for the weekend to somewhere where I could swim in the ocean and chill in the sun and write. Keeping in mind, I'd never done anything like that while at Sing Sing. Never. Somewhere beautiful and close, like Puerto Rico. My assistant was totally into it. She was still young herself, and this was a legitimate secret romance. We were all caught up. Who was she messing with? Was she messing with the buddy? I mean, it's a free trip, but who was this sister messing with? Because, I mean, you got to pay me some hush money. You can't just be flinging me all around the world, you know? Because I probably would be like, now that I know the truth, I probably would be like, girl, you done picked up that Birkin. Won't you pick me up one too? So there we were again, sneaking around to avoid my security. We went out the back door of the club and walked through a maze of small pathways through the palm trees and blooming bushes to the resort and my villa, accompanied by sultry night air. We got back to my room and that familiar dance of butterflies began. Being alone with someone I had genuine attraction to was so new to me. And again, I threw caution to the Caribbean breeze and surrendered into his arms and the moment. We lay for the night in one embrace, engaging in one single long kiss. It was the sexiest moment without sex. Mariah, girl, you mean to tell me you flying all over the world, but you ain't flying to go get the ding-a-ling? Girl, stop it. We don't believe you. I think you might need more people for this one, Mariah. I knew my security saw me and saw Dirk leave my room in the morning, but I finally felt something stronger than fear of Tommy's revenge. I knew my security saw me and saw Derek leave my room in the morning, but I finally felt something stronger than fear of Tommy's revenge. Now that I had it, I couldn't imagine life without that feeling. I had already begun working on Butterfly before my encounters with Derek, but they inspired some of the growing maturity and complexity in my songwriting and structures. The narrations and the melodies were coming from a fresher place. I was hearing things in a more layered, raw, and sophisticated way. I was feeling freer and less apprehensive to spread my creative wings. I advocated for the sound I wanted. I reached out to new producers who could bring that smooth, sexy edge to it. I started working on Breakdown with Stevie J. Nigga, not my favorite song. Not my favorite song. You work with that nigga, Stevie J. Girl, did he touch you? Did he touch you, girl? Mariah, did he violate you in any way, girl? Because you know that's Stevie J. He think that all things is his because, you know, if he work with it, then he need to touch it. Kind of like, what's that girl, Missy Elliott? You know, if Missy Elliott work with your girl, then you got to let her hunt. Missy Elliott, I love you. But Stevie J kind of the same way. Okay, if I work with you, if I give you a hit, then you owe me some vagina. You called yesterday to basically say that you care for me, boy. I know, wrong key, but you're just not in love. I advocated for the sound I wanted. I reached out to new producers who could bring that smooth, sexy edge to it. I started working on Breakdown with Stevie J, one of the Bad Boy Records hitmen, and Puffy. I brought Stevie, Puffy, and Q-Tip, one of the coolest and most creative guys out there, together for what would become the album's lead single, Honey. I'd begun the lyrics and basic melody in Puerto Rico. Q-Tip made this amazing sample of Body Rock by the Treacherous Three. I told them I also wanted to include the 1984 hit Hey DJ by the world famous Supreme Team. Little did they know it was a secret shout out to Derek Jeter. Honey was a song about jonesing for the DJ feeling. You still want that Derek Jeter baseball bat, don't you? Don't you, girl? It's okay. It's okay. I'm sure everybody got a person in their past that they don't mind connecting with or reconnecting with again. I see it, girl. I see it all in. Look at this. Look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. It says Derek Jeter. Where is that nigga now? Is he married? Is he happy? When I played Honey for Tommy, he quipped, "Well, I'm glad you were so inspired." The bitterness. I was like, what now? Now you're mad? Why didn't you get mad about Fantasy or Dream Lover? It's blatantly obvious I wasn't talking about Tommy in that song. I wasn't talking about him or any actual person. Before I met Dirk, there were mostly imagery characters. I'm sure Tommy could sense that the songs written for Butterfly were no longer about far-off fictional lovers. These songs, though certainly poetically embellished, were full of specific details and sensual realness. Tommy and the label were also resistant to what my new sound represented. Again, I heard the refrain too urban, which of course was code for too black. And yeah, I wasn't ever going back. Girl, okay, right quick, y'all. Don't be mad at me because of what I'm about to say, right? Right quick, y'all. Okay, so Dirk Jeter, we did talk about baseball bats. You know who else got a baseball bat that she ended up with? That goddamn Nick Cannon. Did you see that picture that they have of him and his print? Girl, I almost fell out my chair. I was like, Jesus, who is handling all that? All you baby mamas is enduring all that to have a baby with him, girl? Oh my gosh, that's too much pressure. As much as I loved Honey, my only major disappointment was that Biggie, the notorious B.I.G., never made it into the remix.